Hey guys, thanks for listening. Once again, my name is Fox Stardust. For those of you who don't know me, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how one does become free from dependency on different chemicals, drugs, and substances. My drug of choice was heroin, and I have been free from my dependency for over 2 years now. So if you notice, I don't use the word addiction because I really don't feel that we see it the way that it really is meant to be seen, but a dependency, more or less, in my opinion, is just your soul's way of trying to cope with being extremely sensitive to different energies and circumstances, and that's not a bad thing. It's a gift once you discover it. My personal journey of discovering that gift was through the tool and medicine known as Ibogaine or Iboga. It's a root. For those of you that don't know what it is, I definitely suggest looking it up, but it is a root that has been used in African tribes and cultures for centuries, and it was known as a rite of passage. So essentially, by the age of 23, I was so institutionalized. I was first locked up at the age of 18, and I got really lucky that I got in trouble right away. Of course, it didn't stop me using. I caught 4 different felonies in a matter of 4 years, and spent most of my time in and out of jail and prison. So by the time I was 23, I started to go on the treatment circuit. That's a whole nother story down in South Florida, and I maybe went to about 12 different treatment centers before my ticket was about to run out, meaning that I turned 26 and my insurance was gone. So I didn't really know where else to turn, and fortunately for me, I have a really awesome, open-minded, beautiful relationship with my parents, who are really like my good friends, and they had heard about Ibogaine through one of their friends and decided as a last-minute attempt to send me to Mexico at this treatment center. And hopefully, from there I would stay clean. And I'll tell you that, if I could compare like Ibogaine to something like ayahuasca, I would say ayahuasca is very much so like if your boyfriend were to pick you up on his new motorcycle and takes you out and shows you the world and all of these beautiful things, then Ibogaine would be your pissed off stepfather at home waiting to tell you about yourself. So for those of you, and I believe we all have traumatic experiences that are attached to us, and that we may feel like we're over but haven't really felt all the way through, and I always knew that that was my problem. I really just used as a suicide attempt the first time I ever used after the death of 2 loved ones, and I just kind of I just snapped, and so I was very, very aware of myself. I knew that if I could not heal all of these grief and loss issues that I still held on to, that there was no way I was ever going to be able to stay clean. So that's what the Ibogaine essentially does. I knew I was going into this place and I was going to trip for 24 hours. At this time, my experience with hallucinogens and different entheogens, psychedelics, were pretty much just, I tried acid, definitely scared the shit out of myself doing acid when I was younger, mushrooms, so I was a little bit intimidated, and I can tell you, I remember not wanting it to work. I remember the fear of, wanting it to work, but not wanting it to work. I had no idea who I was outside of being a junkie and just giving up on myself. And I just was so scared to try because I was so scared to fail. Needless to say, the Ibogaine, in general, the experience was, I personally had post-traumatic stress disorder, dealing with a number of different issues, and it gave me so much clarity on all of those, the real things that had been plaguing me. Also, grief and loss issues. I had a lot of issues with loss and passings of loved ones, and I came out of this experience very aware that there was no reason to be afraid of death. I came out of this experience really with a loss of identity, I felt so different, and I didn't know what to do with this difference. So at first I tried to use again. Actually, about a month later, back down in South Florida, I was trying to make a go of it down there, and I tried it for like 3 days, and I didn't even feel it. Like, it didn't even work, and I knew then that that this relationship was over with, and I had no choice but to either give up and die, which at this point that wasn't an option for me. So I moved back home. I spent time by myself, and here's the thing about Ibogaine is it gives you the clarity, it gives you the tools that you need to really look at yourself and change your life. However, the rest of it is on you. I do know people who have taken Ibogaine, and while they're not using heroin anymore, they're very much so dependent on outside things. Maybe not in a way or a sense that it's an everyday thing, but they still haven't really looked inside themselves. So I was really fortunate, which I didn't view at that time, to have a lot of time alone when I first got home. Through just a series of events, I was led to meditations, really awesome binaural beats on YouTube. You can find them everywhere. I fell asleep with those literally every night, playing for over 1.5 years. And yeah, I just put in a lot of work. I spent a lot of time learning about how to, create boundaries. But whatever the Ibogaine did, it just gave me the ability, like I said, the tools to really get past the things that were blocking me from caring about myself. So yeah, so that's my experience with Ibogaine. I mean, I would do it again. I would recommend that everybody has this experience. I don't care if you're addicted to something or not. I feel like we all have a something, I'm so grateful, so grateful that my something was so obviously destructive. It was so obviously running from myself that I had no choice, and everybody knew that, this was a problem. There's so many people who can take good things like diet and exercise, or people, for instance, and work, and they take it, and instead of looking at themselves, they are addicted or dependent, attached, whatever you want to call it, to all of these healthy things. And it's so much harder to tell somebody who has a healthy attachment, that they're more than just what that attachment is. So I'm so grateful that I had no choice but to kind of be the outcast and to look at myself and to accept all that in myself. So yeah, so that's a huge part of it too, is the forgiveness, letting go of the shame. I'm just very aware that I'm a very sensitive, creative, empathic soul, and who has, who has experienced a lot of different, what some may perceive as negative experiences, traumatic experiences, because I was strong enough and capable to deal with them. So I consider my life to be a gift today. I consider my struggles to be a gift today. I'm grateful for all of it. I'm grateful for you guys. So thanks for tuning in and subscribing. If nobody's told you that they love you today, I very much so do. Thanks.